In this screencast, I'm going to go over how I create some of the paintings that I do through Yaymaker's Paint Night. So this was a painting that I did over the summer about an octopus. This was the model that was shown on the website. Then at the beginning of each class, frequently the teacher will have already done a mock-up of the painting, and so I take a picture of that to get an idea of what the teacher's style is, because everybody makes theirs a little bit different. You can see that it's pretty close to the original, slight variations in color. Some of that's also just because of the screen. When we begin, we first begin by painting the background, and we're combining blues of different colors and some blacks to make the blues darker. We're actually blending them on the painting, and you'll notice that in the original, these sort of in diagonal lines here, and even on the teacher's painting, and you can see that mine doesn't really look like that at all. And you will also notice that as we go through the course of the painting, I end up fixing this and repairing it, so it starts to change. First, we began by painting the outline of the octopus in white, which is often done when there's going to be a lighter color over a darker one to give it sort of a fresh foundation to work with. We did the outline of the octopus's head and the outer tentacles, and then slowly worked our way through some of the inner ones one at a time, and then filled in some of the body here. You will see that this part here is much further down than I ended up doing, and I didn't notice my mistake until later, but otherwise I've been fairly pleased with how I managed to render the shape of the octopus. Already you can start to see that the lines of my background are starting to change. After we had painted the white of the octopus, we ended up painting sort of a light cream with a slight orange tint to it. We had created several shades of orange, a light, a medium, and a dark reddish orange, which were going to be used for different shape parts of the octopus. So first this very light color, which went over the entire base. Then we used the medium color to start putting in some of the features over some of the tentacles here, filling where the eyes are going to be, some of the contours and the head. Again, you can start to see that my background is starting to take shape as I'm fixing it up around it in my spare time in between painting the orange. Next, we start adding some of the darker red bits to some of the tentacles, and we also begin putting in some of the suckers. I've put some sort of medium orange here, and then added some more orange in these areas here, as well as the darker reddish bits on some of the tentacles here. The suckers were interesting because in order to maintain a round shape, what we did was we dipped the handle part of the paintbrush into the white paint and then dotted that on, and so you could get maybe 2 or 3 dots before then you'd have to dip that in. We were using a fairly large handled brush to make larger suckers for this main part of the octopus's body. We also added this black dot for the eye. Then at the end here, we were using some smaller paintbrush handle dots to create the air bubbles, and we also used the smaller paintbrush handle dots to do the suckers that were more towards the very end of the tentacles. And by this point, I'm fairly pleased with how my background had turned out, and that is how my painting ended up. So again, to just review, this was the original, right, shown on the website. This was the teacher's initial model, and this was my finished design.